thought the business was something wonderful. I mean, I still think it's something wonderful, but I thought it was a little more different than the way that I've seen it today. When I lost my self-esteem and I lost my dignity inside of myself, and I lost my, virtually, I lost myself.
I cried like I was being beaten with a skillet. I mean, I could not hold it in because I know what it took for him to be able to walk through the remake of that door. So, yeah, it's hard.
Todd Bridges was part of one of the most beloved sitcoms of the 80s. But behind the laughter was a world filled with struggles, tragedy, and shocking revelations. And now, Kim Fields has spoken out about the heartbreaking truth behind his journey and the devastating fate of his co-stars.
And they introduced the cast of... They introduced the cast of Diff'rent Strokes, and Todd was the only one that came out. Because I know, because I was there, I lived it with him. And that of everybody, that's literally the last man standing.
From Hollywood stardom to addiction, crime, and redemption, Todd Bridges' life has been anything but easy. But did Diff'rent Strokes really doom its cast? And did Hollywood set Todd Bridges up to fail?
When I lost my self-esteem and I lost my dignity inside of myself, and I lost my, virtually, I lost myself.
Let's get into it. Kim Fields has known Todd Bridges for decades. From their early years in Hollywood to watching their peers disappear one by one, she's seen firsthand the pain he carries.
When we did live in front of a studio audience,
Right.
and they did Diff'rent Strokes and Facts of Life, and when they had us come out, the original
At the
cast
end,
members
yeah.
at the end, and they introduced the cast of They introduced the cast of Diff'rent Strokes, and Todd was the only one that came out. Because I know, because I was there, I lived it with him. And that of everybody, that's literally the last man standing. I went behind those audience bleachers and I cried like I was being beaten with a skillet. I mean, I could not hold it in because I know what it took for him to be able to walk through the remake of that door. So, yeah, it's hard. And so, yeah, it motivated me. Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say when I went to visit Todd down at LA County that there wasn't a part of me going, I love you, bro, but this ain't gonna be me.
Todd Bridges was one of Hollywood's brightest young stars.
I thought the business was something wonderful. I mean, I still think it's something wonderful, but I thought it was a little more different than the way that I've seen it today.
He was just a kid with a dream. Born in 1965 in San Francisco, Todd grew up surrounded by entertainment. His mother, Betty Bridges, wasn't just any mom. She was an acting coach who trained some of the biggest names in Hollywood. That meant Todd was always around actors, rehearsals, and auditions.
Yes, my mom was in the business first, and then my dad was a longshoreman for a bunch of years.
Okay. And did your mom train a bunch of female
My mom trained,
actresses?
Yeah, Nia Long,
Right.
Regina King,
Right.
My friend who passed away, Lamont Bentley,
Sanaa Lathan?
Shania Lathan, yep.
Yeah.
She trained all those people. She trained them and she trained Regina and Nia, a bunch of kids for years and years without even getting paid. She just trained them.
Wow.
And she ended up managing them later on, but she didn't get paid in the beginning. She just trained them. We had, originally what would happen was if you wanted to be in show business, you had to come through my mom and my dad because there was no other way for us to get through at the time. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
With his mom's guidance, Todd started landing roles while most kids were still figuring out their ABCs. His first big break came with appearances on hit TV shows like Barney Miller, Little House on the Prairie, and Roots. He wasn't just playing small parts. People noticed his talent, and soon, doors started opening.
Oh, was
My
it
first
H10?
TV role was Streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden.
Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah, and Michael Douglas, yeah.
Okay. But at age 10, you got a role in Barney Miller.
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, like you
But
getting-
before that, I was in a movie at 8. Yeah, I was in a movie 8 with called it was with Henry Winkler and Sissy Spacek.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also did a movie at 8 with Jane Alexandra.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the movies, but I've worked with those people in movies when I was a kid.
I mean, was this something you want to do as a kid or something your parents just pushed all the kids into?
I always wanted to be in show business from the very beginning, from when I used to watch Sanford and Son on TV.
In 1978, Todd was cast as Willis Jackson, the older brother of Gary Coleman's Arnold. The show followed two black brothers from Harlem who were adopted by a wealthy white businessman, and it was an instant hit. America fell in love with Todd and Gary's on-screen chemistry, and the phrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" became one of the most famous catchphrases in TV history.
You gotta not be working at what you're working at before you stop working. What you talking about, Willis?
Todd went from being a regular kid to one of the most recognizable faces on television almost overnight. His life became a whirlwind of press interviews, red carpets, and fan encounters. Wherever he went, people stopped him for autographs, and magazines put his face on their covers. He was living every young actor's dream. But with fame came pressure. Todd was young, and suddenly he had the weight of an entire TV show and a massive audience on his shoulders. He wasn't just acting, he was working long hours, doing interviews, and trying to keep up with school, all while dealing with the reality of growing up in Hollywood. And that's when the cracks started showing.
When did it start to go sour for you?
Well, it's when I lost my self-esteem and I lost my dignity inside of myself, and I lost my I lost myself.
So how'd you respond to it?
I responded to it very negatively. Evidently, I ended up getting myself in a little bit of trouble.
You want to detail it?
Well, in trouble by using drugs and doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. That's about it. That's the only crime I've ever really committed was using drugs.
It's not the only crime of which you've been charged.
Well, of course not, but that can happen to anybody.
While Diff'rent Strokes had millions of viewers laughing every week, Todd Bridges was living a completely different reality behind the scenes. Hollywood looked glamorous from the outside, but for young stars like Todd, it was anything but. Child actors were thrown into an industry that cared more about making money than protecting them. The pressure to be perfect, to always perform, and to never show weakness was overwhelming. Todd wasn't just growing up on screen. He was growing up in a world that didn't care about his well-being.
Anybody can be charged with things, but if you committed the crime, you'll be convicted. And I haven't been convicted.
Why was Todd Bridges charged then? Why were you singled out?
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No fault of your own?
Yeah, the only fault I had, I was using drugs. That's a big fault.
Do you blame drugs for all of that? How much responsibility lies at your door, Todd?
Mine, all that. Using drugs lies at my door. That's the mistake that I made.
Period.
Period.
And behind those closed doors, some of the worst things imaginable were happening. Todd later revealed that as a young boy, he was sexually abused by a trusted mentor in the industry. He carried the weight of that trauma for years, never fully understanding how it shaped his self-destructive path. In an industry where children were expected to act like adults, there was nowhere to turn for help.
Well, I remember you did an interview with Oprah in 2010 where you were saying right around that time you were getting sexually abused.
That's when I was 11 years old. Yeah,
Exactly.
10 and 11 years old.
10, 11 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And this was like a family friend.
Yeah, well, he was a family friend who became a publicist who did that, so, yeah.
And I mean, initially, well, I guess your mom believed you, but your dad did not.
Yeah, my dad was the kind of guy who was more about the money than anything else, so he was just all about what this guy can make for that guy, so he was more about that than anything.
But Todd wasn't alone in his struggles. His Diff'rent Strokes co-star, Dana Plato, also had her demons.
Struggled to find work.
But she got fired because she was pregnant.
Oh,
That's why she got fired. That's the
that.
real reason why she got fired.
wow.
Because they couldn't have, back in those days, an unwed woman pregnant. They couldn't have it. Like today, it'd be like, no big deal. We just shoot around you. We don't, we just add it in the show.
She had been America's sweetheart as Kimberly Drummond, but once the cameras stopped rolling, things took a dark turn. She battled addiction, financial problems, and a series of arrests. Hollywood discarded her the moment she was no longer useful, and she was left to fend for herself.
Well, Dana, like you said, had drug problems.
Yeah.
And then in 1999, well, and this is where the fuzzy part is. Some people are saying that she died of suicide. Other people are saying there was a drug overdose.
Accidental. Yeah.
It was an accidental drug overdose?
What I heard is, okay, this is what I heard. But see, I talked to her, I told her, see, if you ever listen to my Howard Stern interviews, I'm fired at Howard Stern. I'm firing. If he fires at me, I fire back. I used to learn, I don't care about it anymore, but I used to learn everything about you. If you're interviewing me, I learned everything about me. So if you try to attack me, I come right after you just as fast. So, I would go on Howard, and when you're a comedian, you're blasting away, you're having fun, everyone's laughing. So Dana, I told her, I said, Dana, you can't go on there lying.
You're on drugs. You look a little bit wired there.
No. I have been sober for the longest time. Gosh, for almost a decade now. I'll do a UA right now.
What's the UA?
A urine test. A urine analysis. I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
How about you just pee in a cup? Forget about the drug test. That will make me very happy. You ready to take some calls?
Sure, yeah.
Cocaine in my life. And they were like,
Yeah, okay.
and when callers called in, they beat her up.
Yeah.
And she couldn't take it. She went home, and what happened was, the things I tell people about sleeping pills, never take sleeping pills. She took some sleeping pills. She woke up kind of drowsy, took some more.
Then there was Gary Coleman, the biggest star of the show. Despite making millions as Arnold Jackson, Gary's parents and managers mismanaged his earnings, leaving him broke and fighting legal battles just to reclaim what was rightfully his. His health problems made it even harder, and Hollywood, which once adored him, turned its back on him. He passed away at just 42 years old after suffering from a brain hemorrhage.
That I want all the talk to stop. Gary's gone. I want his body put away respectfully so that we all can bring some closure to this part of him. I think with all the talk that's been going on, the people going on talk shows and saying this, saying that, some true, some not true.
People called it a curse, the Diff'rent Strokes curse. But Todd Bridges knew the truth. It wasn't some supernatural force that destroyed child stars. It was Hollywood. Anyway, after hitting rock bottom, Todd Bridges knew something had to change. Years of battling addiction, constant legal battles, and facing prison time had almost destroyed him. But something clicked. Todd made the decision to take control of his life, to fight for his future. He realized that he wasn't going to let Hollywood, addiction, or his past define him anymore. Hollywood's response to Todd's redemption was mixed. While some embraced him, others were still hesitant, perhaps unable to look beyond the publicized parts of his life.
And it's like the people don't realize that, we're human beings too, and we have feelings and emotions. But I still go back to, like I said, I don't blame anyone for what I did. I accept full responsibility.
Yeah, but that's what you did. That's who you were.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not who you are.
But they still make it like that. That's who I am today. And that's what's so...
However, Todd didn't need the validation of an industry that had once chewed him up and spit him out. Instead, he focused on his own healing and success. He continued acting, took on reality TV projects, and began mentoring young people facing similar struggles. Todd Bridges' life has been a roller coaster, rising to fame, crashing into addiction, and fighting to rebuild. But is he truly free from Hollywood's curse? That we may never know. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.